Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
So much so that I had to ask around. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of a nice guy, right?
Hacker is an ass.
I try, as I'm getting into my old age at 39 years old, try not to let things bother me. Just know that I'm ultra soft.
And he doesn't shy away from opinions.
See Baker Mayfield throw 4 passes, but I get to see this homeless guy return a ball for a touchdown.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, an early edition for us. We're in for Blue tonight here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us on a Wednesday. We can now turn the page to the Baltimore Ravens as Sunday Night Football returns to Jacksonville, and Baltimore comes in with the best record in the American Football Conference at 10-3 on the year. We got a ton to do tonight. Guest lineup looks like this. In less than 20 minutes, my buddy Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's with us every week here on Hacker After Dark. We'll recap Cleveland. We'll certainly preview Baltimore. And Cecil has some things to get off his chest about the Jaguar wide receiver core. Again, he's a guy that played wide receiver in the NFL for 7 years. He's kind of the guy to go to about some of the questions about Calvin Ridley and his effort last week against Cleveland. So we'll talk with Cecil Shorts about that coming up in less than 20 minutes. Also, Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated, fastly becoming one of my favorite guys nationally to talk to. He doesn't sugarcoat a whole lot. He'll tell you what he thinks. And Matt Verderame of SI.com will join us close to 7 o'clock this evening as we look not only at the Jaguars, but around the AFC South and around the AFC as a whole. So we're with you till 8 o'clock. Glad you're with us here on Hacker After Dark. Every night here on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Oh, what a difference a year makes. 365 little days. 365 days ago, the Jaguars were 5-8, welcoming in the Dallas Cowboys. And at that point, at 5-8, the Jaguars were just hoping to stay in playoff contention. Obviously, we know that they went on that great streak, ultimately into the playoffs, and then ultimately giving Kansas City all they want in the divisional round. But a year ago, right now, the Jaguars were a 5-8 football team. 2 years ago, right now, the Jaguars were the worst team in the National Football League. And 3 years ago, right now, the Jaguars were also the worst team in the National Football League. So 3 years ago, they were at the bottom of the barrel. 2 years ago, bottom of the barrel. Last year, right now, 5-8. Fast forward to 2023. 8-5. First place in the AFC South. In clear control of the division when you factor in tiebreakers. But why are people in this city so unhappy? I get the loss to Cincinnati stings. I understand the loss to Cleveland was painful. But good grief. The difference in this team with skill, with win-loss record, talent, everything that you look at for an NFL football team, the difference between now and 2 years ago and now and 3 years ago is night and day. And really the difference between now and 365 days ago is pretty close to night and day. Yet there is a sense that I'm getting in this city after Sunday's loss to Cleveland that the Jaguars' season might as well be over. I've even had some people say, oh, they're frauds. They're not very good. They got our hopes up. No, maybe you got your hopes too high. You ever think about that? Maybe it's you that had your hopes elevated. Again, this team was awful 3 years ago. They were awful 2 years ago, and they were 5-8 at this point last year. So why on earth are you unhappy about 8-5? That I don't understand. I guess the question boils down to this, really. If the Jaguars win the AFC South, but get knocked out in round one of the playoffs, would you consider that a failure of a season? Now, 2 years ago, if you would have told the Jaguar fan base they win the division, it would have been an overwhelming success. I understand expectations do change from month to month and certainly year to year, but just how much do they change? Or how much should they change? They should be gradual, not gigantic. But I do get the sense, and tell me if I'm wrong, hit me up on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010. We might even take a phone call or two if we have time. I do get the sense that if the Jaguars hold on and win the South, as they should, again, if you factor in tiebreakers, they're basically 2 games up on Indianapolis with 4 to go. They're essentially a game and a half up on Houston with 4 to go, and Houston has a bunch of injury problems now. They're going to win the division. You play Carolina, you got to beat them, right? I mean, come on. Tampa, Tennessee, let's say you split those. And let's even say Baltimore beats you. Let's say you finish 2-2. Well, if you finish 2-2, that would force Indianapolis to go 4-0 from here on out. And that would basically force Houston to go 4-0 as well. So 2-2 is going to win you the division at 10-7. I think the Jaguars will finish better than that. So the division championship is going to be yours. If you do not win the division, then yeah, at that point, we can talk about disappointment, if not failure. Under my plausible scenario, the Jaguars do indeed win the division, get the 4th seed at least. So you win the division, you get knocked out in round one. Is that a failure? I think you would look at it as a failure. I think, quite frankly, some of us in the media would look at it as a failure, although I don't believe we should. I mean, when's the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars won back-to-back division championships? I'll tell you when the last time was. 1998 and 1999? I think was the last time they won back-to-back division championships. You're talking 24, 25 years ago. Why are we so upset with an 8-5 record? Probably because you let your expectations get a little out of whack. If you were to tell people at the beginning of the year, through 13 games, the Jaguars would have the same record as the Kansas City Chiefs, I imagine you would have taken that. If you were to tell people back on Labor Day weekend that through 13 games, Jacksonville would have the 3rd best record in the AFC, I imagine people would have taken that. But these last 2 losses have left a bad taste in your mouth. That can all get erased on Sunday night. If the Jaguars win against a very good Baltimore Raven team, then a lot of the stuff from the last 2 weeks is gone. But I just want to tell you and reiterate the fact of where this team has come from. The reason they have Trevor Lawrence here is they were the worst team in football in 2020. The reason they have Trayvon Walker here is they were the worst team in football in 2021. And again, even last year, before that big run, they were sitting at 5-8 through 13 games. So don't be upset at 8-5. You can be upset about losing 2 in a row, 2 games you very easily could have won, Cincinnati and Cleveland. And look, if Jacksonville goes on to lose 4 or 5 games in a row, well, at that point, it's a different conversation. But for the here and now, sitting at 8-5, the overwhelming favorite in the South to win another division championship, your 2nd in a row, and to do that for the first time in a quarter century, I just don't know if you need to be that upset right now at where Jacksonville stands in the grand scheme of things. Doug Peterson met the media earlier today, getting ready for the Baltimore Ravens. They only have 4 games left. Doug Peterson was asked about the confidence he has that they can fix their issues in that time frame.
The confidence level is fine. I trust the coaching staff. Like I said, it starts there. I trust the coaches to make sure that they're, making sure our guys are prepared, turning over every stone, taking it from the practice field into the post-practice meetings, and then picking up the next day, kind of where they left off. So confidence is still high. I mean, it's our job. Our jobs are to make sure that they're prepared mentally. My job is also to make sure they're ready to go physically, as well. So a little bit of a trade-off, but a lot of confidence in the staff and the players to get it done.
It's a big matchup on Sunday, no question about it. Sunday Night Football, Jacksonville and Baltimore. Doug Peterson, you excited for this matchup against the Ravens?
A lot of confidence downstairs. I mean, the guys are excited for this week. It's a two good football teams coming together, two top four right now in the AFC, playing, and obviously it's great for the NFL, great for fans, and these are the games. Again, it goes back to what I expect our players to get used to, right? Playing in moments like this and games like this. Baltimore obviously has, but the confidence is high.
It should be high most of the time. My question is it really high when you consider Jacksonville's struggles at home? That's a real problem. The Jaguars' struggles at home. There is no question about that. That's something I want to get into as we get further along this week. But the fact that they're 2-4 at home, the fact that they have had national showcase games at home against Kansas City, against San Francisco, and against Cincinnati, and the fact that they have lost every one of those games is certainly very concerning. And we will see what happens Sunday. Again, the national lights will be on again here in Jacksonville when the best team in the AFC record-wise comes in here with the Baltimore Ravens. Coming up next, Cecil Shorts, former Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver. He joins me every week here on Hacker After Dark. We'll take a look back at Cleveland. We'll certainly preview Baltimore, but I'm going to ask Cecil, a guy that played 7 years in the NFL. I believe he's still top 10 among Jaguar receivers with total catches in a Jaguar uniform. I'm going to ask him about Calvin Ridley, about some of the criticism going Calvin Ridley's way this week, and I think he will be very interested in some of the things Cecil Shorts has to say. That's next. Wednesday night edition. In for Blue. It's Hacker After Dark with Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's fun to play.
Yes.
It's even more fun to win.
Yes!
It's 1010XL's weekly pick'em contest, brought to you by MyBookie. You could win a barbecue feast from ABBQ. You pick 'em at 1010XL.com.
Car buyers, are you in the market for a new vehicle? Are you noticing markup on vehicles on dealer lots? Well, come to Key Buick GMC, where we never have markups on our vehicles. Ask for Derek or Brian. In addition, Key Buick GMC is the only Buick GMC dealer with a lifetime powertrain warranty on all new Buicks and GMCs. Holidays are approaching, and we are your service headquarters. That's Key Buick GMC. We are professional grade across from Tinseltown, South Siding Gate, or visit us at KeyBuickGMC.com.
If you're looking for exterior solutions that provide you reliability and durability, it's time to call Armor Guard Exteriors. Whether you need seamless gutters or gutter protection, hurricane products, impact windows, glass lanais, or retractable awnings and screens, we've got you covered. Call My Home Team today for your 5-star experience at 904-906-8669.
Armor Guard Exteriors, committed to quality, and that's a promise.
Eggnog in the carpet, wine on the sofa, dingy-looking tile and grout, no problem. Call Zero Res. Zero Res technicians are cleaning freaks. Over 5,000 5-star customer reviews. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments for all of their physicians. Simply schedule your appointment on your cell phone, tablet, or desktop. JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 13, 2015, Yulee alum Derrick Henry wins the 81st Heisman Trophy after rushing for over 2,200 yards and 28 touchdowns for Alabama.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I've got an Awaken 180 update that you may not believe. I'm 4 weeks into the Awaken 180 program and down 23 pounds. 23 pounds in 1 month. You might be thinking, well, the holiday season has arrived. Now what? Well, I'm not sweating it, because over Thanksgiving week, at a time when most are loosening their belt, I dropped 6 pounds. That's right, 6 pounds. Awaken 180 is just stupid easy. Who knew you could enjoy the holidays and still lose weight while eating and drinking and being merry? That's the beauty of Awaken 180. It seamlessly fits into your life, even during holidays, parties, vacations, you name it. If you're looking for real change, give yourself the gift that lasts a lifetime. You looking in the mirror, happy, healthy, after dropping the weight, holding you back with the #1 solution for weight loss, Awaken 180. Do what I did and call Awaken 180 at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, or go online at awaken180weightloss.com.
The holidays provide a good reminder to ensure your vehicle is well maintained for safe and reliable travels. So in the spirit of giving, Famous Automotive and Tire is offering a buy 3, get 1 free promotion on all size tires and brands. All new tire sizes and brands, buy 3, get 1 free. This holiday sale also applies to all shocks and struts. Visit the shop for details and get your vehicle holiday ready at Famous Automotive and Tire. 7 locations servicing every customer like they're famous.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows and 295.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
The Jaguars are in the home stretch of the regular season as they go head-to-head with the Baltimore Ravens December 17th. This Sunday night football matchup is sure to excite as you help us teal out the stands. It's also our Inspire Change game, where fans can learn about our involvement in police community relations, criminal justice reform, and more. Go to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you for Sunday night football, Jaguars fans.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. It's getting chilly outside, but you can enjoy the outside inside with a new glass lanai from Lifetime Enclosures. Or look ahead and get that backyard ready for spring with a new screened-in enclosure. And for the time being, you can stop into Lifetime Flooring to enter to win $20,000 in free flooring during the Score Free Floors promotion. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway and proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Ravens, Sunday night. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Baltimore, an AFC best 10-3, coming in to play Jacksonville, who now sits at 8-5 on the year. Let's talk to a man that played 7 years in the National Football League, 4 of those right here in Jacksonville. Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts is with us every week here on Hacker After Dark, and we always appreciate Cecil taking time out for us. Cecil, how you doing, man?
I'm well, brother. I'm well. How about you?
Cecil, we're good. I mean, we were a lot better 2 weeks ago at 8-3. A couple of losses, hard-fought losses, but losses nonetheless. Your thoughts about last Sunday in Cleveland?
Sloppy. Probably on both ends, but kind of disappointing when you look at how well the Jaguars have been playing on the road. And they go into that game and you give up, I think, 4 turnovers. First half they didn't seem like themselves. You could see, in my opinion, Trevor wasn't himself. I said it before, I'll say it again. He is better when he's able to move. He's able to get out the pocket, when he's able to run freely, create, or at least have the option. And Sunday, he was just limited. He wouldn't say hobble, but he was just limited with that ankle. Wasn't too comfortable out there. And the Browns defense is solid. Not gonna deny that. But talking about the defensive side, when you let Joe Flacco, who's 48 years old, come off the couch and dial you up a little bit, and respect to Joe Flacco. He's a professional, but I was kind of disappointed. Very frustrated watching the game. I just thought it would be a better performance from the Jaguars, especially after a loss and being on the road. I thought they would perform a lot better, especially when they have the lead in the AFC South and they're playing for something as far as playoff bidding and playoff positioning right now.
Cecil, it's interesting. And look, there's a lot of issues surrounding the team, but if there is silver lining, and you tell me if I'm wrong, like you said, 4 turnovers, right? David Njoku could have fair caught 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was wide open. I mean, the Jaguars, they played horribly on Sunday. Yet, having said that, it was 31-27 with an onside kick with 90 seconds to go. Despite playing horribly, they were in the game. Is there any silver lining there?
There is, but it's frustrating. Why does it take, you to the end of the game? Even, I guess the silver lining is you were still in the game at the end. But to be a contender, to be a solidified AFC contender year in and year out, you want consistency. In every game, you won't get it, right? But majority of the games, you should be able to go out there and play well. And you've been playing well on the road. I was so surprised that 4 turnovers happened on the road. I was surprised that you let Joe Flacco, you let David Njoku wide open. I'm surprised. They did a great job stopping the run on defense. But you still, the last 2 weeks, have not ran the ball well. And you need to have that to help Trevor Lawrence, especially if he's going to be hobbled. So there is a silver lining that they were still in the game. But if you're going to be a serious AFC contender, because to me, Cleveland had a lot of guys missing. They had tons of people missing, including their quarterback, including their starting running back, including Denzel Ward, their best corner, and a few other people. So I expected you to come in, and I know it's going to be hard for all. It's tough to win in Cleveland, but with the weather and everything. But at the same time, if you're a true AFC contender, you find ways to win, regardless of what's going on. So there's a silver lining, but there's still some frustration there, seeing how badly they played on both sides of the ball.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. All right, Cecil, one of the big topics here, Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley last Sunday were targeted 27 times. They combined for 9 catches. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but even I know 66% of the time with those numbers, the ball that came their way was not caught. And Ridley in particular, there looked like 2 instances where he either stopped playing or did not know what he was doing that resulted in interceptions. Your thoughts on everything surrounding the passing game right now?
You know what's interesting? Even on Parker Washington's touchdown, who I think is going to be a good player, he didn't run a route. He's decided to complain to the ref. That being Calvin Ridley. If you watch the bottom of the screen, I believe the touchdown from Trevor to Parker was on the top of the screen. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you see Calvin just kind of looking, arguing with the ref or whatever the case may be. It could have been a situation where he didn't have a route, but it's just not a good look from a veteran guy who's been around the league a lot. I'll say this. The playbook I'm talking from a receiver standpoint, the playbook for receivers in the off season is the hardest because everything is up, especially for a new guy, right? A new guy coming into a new system. everything is up. You're learning all the plays, right? So each day, each week, there's tons of plays being added in. It's like nothing is like dwindled down. It's just everything is up. You're having to learn formations and schemes. Learning quick game, you learn the intermediate game, you learn the deep passing schemes, you're learning different terminology. You're learning all these things. Now, that's the most difficult part about the playbook, especially like I remember coming into Houston after I left Jacksonville. There were so many small details. Like I would come to the line of scrimmage and I'll have 3 different routes, based on the coverage, based on the look, based on the audible, right? Like if I came to the line of scrimmage and we come to the line of scrimmage sometime with 2 plays. So based on and normally it's like a run play and a pass play. So based on what they give us, we got to know what we're doing. Or if a blitz comes, I have to know what my hot read is, right? But the hardest part about learning an offense is the off season, because everything is up. Once you get into the regular season, everything is not up. They're not calling random plays. They're not just calling something from, they called way back in rookie minicamp or veteran minicamp. These plays are scripted. The playbook is a lot smaller. And going into the game, what exactly are the plays we're going to call? The plays we'll call a lot, the plays we'll call somewhat, and the plays we'll call a little bit. And I'm saying all that to say this. For Calvin Ridley, and it's not just this week from my understanding, it's multiple weeks over the 14-week season that we've had so far, that he has ran the wrong route or not been in the place he's supposed to be at. That tells me he's not either preparing like he should, or he can't mentally handle the offense that they're in. So if he's not preparing as he should, that's totally on him. Because literally the playbook week in and week out during the season is so much more easier to consume, to understand. You know exactly what you have to do and where you're supposed to be. There may be a couple plays in there that you may be confused about, but you're going to practice those because you're going to bring them up. Coach is going to make an emphasis on it. Hey, on this particular play, on this look, you have this route, right? It's that simple. If he's not preparing, that's completely on him as a professional. Because there's no excuse for 27, I believe he's 28 years old, has been in the league 4, 5, 6 years, whatever it is, to run the wrong route. It's no excuse for that, right? Zero. Especially during the weeks. During the regular season, the playbook is so dwindled down. You know exactly I used to know exactly what I had. Like on third down, I knew what was coming. Second down, I knew what was coming. First down, I knew what was coming. Like the possibilities. It was no time during the game that I'm like, dang, I don't know this play or I don't know the route. And if I didn't, I would ask the quarterback. I would communicate with the other receivers. So this is where I'm having trouble with. It's either that or he is just doesn't have the mental capacity. And I don't want to offend him in no type of way because he's an awesome receiver, great route runner. But no matter how good you run routes, if you're not running the right route. If you're not in the right spot, right?
Well, and the interesting thing is right when the first interception happened in the red zone, Trevor pointed to his eyes. Obviously, Trevor thought Calvin was going to do something that he didn't do. And if you go back and you watch it, it's almost as if Ridley ran it too deep and didn't cut in when Trevor thought. Now, again, these guys have not been working with each other, for 5 years. These guys have been working with each other since, I guess, May when they got out on the field. But you are right. It's 14 weeks in. Do we give Ridley any of the benefit of the doubt that he's still in year one with Trevor, or should that stuff have been cleared up by now?
It's no excuse. It's no excuse because he's pointing to his eyes saying, hey, like that's either a signal saying, hey, you need to look at me because I'm checking you something, or, hey, pay attention to the defense, like know what's going on. That's something they worked in where they had to work throughout the week with, right? So that was something that Trevor saw, that Coach Peterson saw, that Calvin and them worked on throughout the week. That's why he's touching his eyes because, like, hey, we got to be able to see that. We saw this either blitz or play or we worked on that, and you have not studied or you didn't run the right route. There's no excuse for that. Heck, I'm sorry. It's week 14. If you're going to be a true contender, you can't have this happen over and over and over and over again. Like, to me, you're a vet. You should know how to prepare. You should know how to study. So at this point in time in a season, you can't have mistakes like that. If it's once, okay, cool. If it's, a couple of times, okay, cool. But this has been something that it's been year round. Not year round, but throughout the year. So this has to be fixed, and that's on Calvin. Calvin got to prepare better. That's just what it is. And if the playbook is too much week in and week out, then they need to give him a smaller package, which would, help him understand, okay, this is what I exactly have on these particular plays. But if that's the case, then he's not your number one receiver. Then he can't handle it. Because your number one guy has to be able to understand the defense, understand the calls, understand when there's a blitz, my route may change because the depth may change because I don't have that much time, right? So for him, I don't know what it is, but they have to figure it out. Now, I'll be honest with you, this tells me, because I believe he's a free agent this offseason, I doubt if I would bring him back if I'm the Jaguars. I would seriously consider going after somebody else or working with the guys I have in-house. Because if I can't trust him to run the right route after 14 weeks in minicamp and training camp and everything else, how can I trust him in the playoffs? How can I trust him next season in the second year of the offense? I'd rather go out and get Mike Evans or Michael Pittman or somebody else and bring them in and school them up. Well, they don't have the same exact issues, right? So for me, that is like, do we still want him here next year? If that's really the issue, do we still want him here? Because right now, to me, there's no excuse.
It's a great perspective. Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts, you would know better than most. Cecil played 7 years in the National Football League at the wide receiver position. Zay Jones didn't have a great game either last week. Those guys got to step up in light of Christian Kirk being out. Cecil, quickly, because I want to get to Baltimore. What's been overshadowed in the last 2 losses is Evan Ingram, man. I mean, Ingram's got 17 catches, I think, for 170 yards and 3 touchdowns in these 2 losses. Outside of guys named Travis Kelce and I guess maybe George Kittle, I'm not sure if there's a better tight end in the league right now than Evan Ingram.
He is hot right now. Caught 11 out of 12 targets. He is the most trustworthy, and Christian Kirk too, but with Christian out, he is by far the most trustworthy receiver that you have, or pass catcher that you have on this Jacksonville offense. He's probably the most consistent guy you have on the offense right now, with the run game being out of sorts right now. He is somebody that's getting open consistently. He's being in the right place at the right time. His confidence is sky high. I don't see him slowing down at all. He is like a safety blanket for Trevor Lawrence. Trevor trusts him. He's in the right spots at the right times, and he's making plays, making tough catches, making third down catches. He is living up to what he was supposed to be in New York, coming out of that first-round draft pick, right? He is that guy, and he is solidifying himself right now as one of the top 5 tight ends in the league. He has to continue, but he has solidified himself as one of the best pass catchers in the league, and that is something. When you have him, when you have Kirk, when you have Travis Etienne, you are building something special, right? So if we can get Calvin going and this offense in other ways going, you solidified your spot in the middle, because this dude is unstoppable right now. And the thing is, now you got to really, really prepare for him. Hey, he got 12 targets last week. The week before, he had 10 targets. The week before that, like, he's getting tons of targets, but he's making the most out of his targets. And the run after catch, he is just playing at an extremely high level. I want to say he has the franchise record right now for most catches by a tight end in the season.
Yeah, broke his own record that he set last year. Right? Yeah.
So if you look at it from the previous years, like Joe Brady and Mercedes Lewis, like 60-something and 50-something. So for him, he's ascending, man, and it's exciting to see because he's still young and got a lot left in the tank.
Final moments with Cecil Shorts. All right, Cecil, they're home on Sunday Night Football. First time in a long time on Sunday Night Football. Baltimore rolls in. They got to figure out a way to win a home game, man. They're 2-4 here at Everbank Stadium. This will be the 4th, quote, showcase home game this year. Kansas City beat them. San Francisco humiliated them. Cincinnati got them. I mean, good heavens. They're staring a 2-5 home record in the face if they lose on Sunday night. Not protecting home field is a big, big concern.
It's a big concern, but I think this game, and you mentioned the team that you mentioned, this game would, like, let's tell the truth Sunday. Are you a real contender, a Super Bowl contender or not? Like, let's be honest. San Francisco kicked your behind, Super Bowl contender. Kansas City Chiefs kicked your behind, Super Bowl contender. Like, Baltimore Ravens are a Super Bowl contender. So this game will speak a lot about who Jacksonville is. Will you step up to the plate? Will you step up at home, which you struggle? You mentioned 2-5 or something like that at home, right? Will you step up to the plate against Baltimore? They're hot right now. They just won an overtime game. Lamar Jackson looks outstanding. Odell Beckham is like a resurgence of him. Zay Flowers, the rookies, making plays everywhere. The defense is one of the top defenses in the league. Clowney's resurgence over there. It's just they are a contending Super Bowl team. Are you a contending team? This game will say a lot about who you are as a franchise right now. Are you a Super Bowl contender or just a one-round team right now? Because right now where I'm leaning towards is like, they'll probably be one round and done. Or, yeah, they'll win the South this year most likely, but I'm not sure how deep they can go. Depends on health, all this stuff. Like, these teams that you're facing and you're getting your butt kicked against are solidified Super Bowl contenders. They've proven it in the AFC Championship or the NFC Championship or even the Super Bowls, right? These teams are legit. So Sunday, that's what I'm looking for. I don't care if they're home, if they're away. I don't care if they're playing in one of the high school stadiums nearby. They need to make sure they show up and show out on Sunday Night Football. This will tell us a lot, Hack, about if they're really Super Bowl contenders.
I agree. I couldn't disagree. I couldn't agree with you anymore. You're exactly spot on, in my opinion. Cecil, 90 seconds. You're out in Houston. Not only did Houston lose last week to New York, they got beat up in the process. What's the status of guys like Nico Collins, C.J. Stroud? Where are the Texans coming into this week against Tennessee?
They're banged up, brother. They're banged up. C.J.'s in the concussion protocol right now. Nico is still questionable. So you lose Nico early last week. Now you're down to your 4th, 5th, and 6th receiver, or 3rd, 4th, and 5th receiver. Didn't have Dalton Schultz last week at all. Guys weren't getting open, no separation. They got their butt kicked. Everybody knows the Jets defense is the real deal, but the Texans defense made Zach Wilson look like the second coming of Aaron Rodgers last week. I was sitting there watching it like, what in the world is going on? Guys running left and right, getting open. He's floating to his left, throwing back to the middle for touchdowns. Very disappointing performance. Very disappointing. It showed their youth last Sunday. So it's a lot of guys trying to D'Amico's really in the media talking about we have to galvanize the troops and get them back going because this is a big week this week versus, I believe, Tennessee.
Yeah, a hot Tennessee team coming off a Monday night, right?
Yeah, so it's important. They want to make the playoffs. They gotta probably win the last 4 games. They got Tennessee twice, they got Cleveland, and then they got the Colts. They probably got to at least go 3-1, 4-0, and hope some other people lose. So we'll see how serious they are, if they're playoff contenders or not. But they're definitely trying to galvanize the troops and get them going in the right direction.
You get Cecil Shorts every week here on Hacker After Dark. We always have the Cecil Shorts Bowl when the Jaguars take on the Texans. We kind of got another Cecil Shorts Bowl next week, right? You had a cup of coffee in Tampa Bay. It'll be the Jaguars. It'll be the Buccaneers next Sunday. Cecil, we'll talk about it next week, my friend. Appreciate your candor. Great stuff. We'll do it again next week, bud.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Talk to you soon.
It's bowl season on 1010XL.
Listen for live bowl games all day Saturday.
Get more play-by-play on 1010XL.
Tired of shopping those online dealers that overpromise and underdeliver? Are you ready to sell or looking for a deal? Find your next used vehicle at Nimnick Buick GMC with Car Bravo, a better way to shop used vehicles online with transparent pricing. Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be named the #1 Car Bravo dealer in the Southeast region and top 10 in the country. Shop 24/7 online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. That's Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com/shadows. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner. With honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees, call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy Subs and Sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a dandy. And do it today.
When's the last time you had your dryer vent cleaned? A clogged dryer vent is a fire hazard and wastes money on your electric bill. First Coast Home Pros dryer vent cleaning specialists are here to help. FirstCoastHomePros.com.
If you were a fan of the U, listen for the Performance Painting Hurricane Report.
I'm JJ LaSalva, and I bring you news and notes you need to know from Miami every week on the Hurricane Report.
On 1010XL, Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
When the sun goes down, you might think a golf course shuts down, but not at the Golf Club of Southampton. Join the gang every Thursday night for trivia with Brooke and Jason, and everybody's favorite night, Friday night on the patio, featuring local musicians, food, and drink. It's all at the Golf Club of Southampton. Great golf. You've come to expect that. But don't forget, when night falls, the fun doesn't stop. Trivia every Thursday night and Southampton's live music patio session Fridays. Call 287-PLAY to make a tee time and the good time.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me, if you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous, don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect Pilsners and Lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
You know, car accidents are scary. That split second before impact when you try to drive your way out of it, but you just can't. And suddenly, your life changes forever. Your long-term medical outlook doesn't resemble the healthy future you had just seconds earlier. You can't swerve to miss the pain either. If a car accident has left you hurt and afraid, call 396-5555 now. It's time to turn your fear into fight. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us. But for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks. But I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners. Always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Yeah, you know, I have a lot of confidence, in those guys in our offense and bouncing back this week. You know, there was a lot of things that we didn't do well out there, really, in all aspects of the game. So, and the good thing is, what I've learned through playing for a while now is the tape is usually never as good or as bad as you think. So you watch it and it is what it is. There's corrections. Obviously, there's things that we did in the game that are uncharacteristic and mistakes, all the way around that we can't make. But it is what it is, and you got to correct them and move on.
The thoughts of Jaguar quarterback Trevor Lawrence earlier today. Trevor Lawrence was a full participant in practice. There was no limited distinction for him. It was a lengthy injury report for the Jaguars, but a lot of limited. A lot of guys got out there for a little bit of practice. The only two that did not today were Andre Cisco and Tyson Campbell. Obviously, that's not good. Two guys in your secondary. Campbell with a quadricep that kept him out last week against Cleveland. He's still battling that. Cisco has a groin injury, and those can be like hamstrings, right? You got to be careful with those because if you go back out there too early, they can flare up and be even worse than they are now. So we'll see about Cisco and Campbell. But Walker Little was limited. Brenton Strange limited. They opened Jamal Agnew's 21-day window from IR to come back. Ezra Cleveland was limited. So slowly but surely, the Jaguars are going to get healthier. That's what's odd, right? I mean, they probably had 12 or 13 guys on their injury report. That doesn't even take into account Cam Robinson, who's still on IR, and Christian Kirk, who's still on IR. I mean, the team's beat to heck. Yet most of these guys will come back in the next 3 to 4 weeks before the playoffs. Agnew's window opened today. Cam Robinson has to miss at least 2 more games. We'll see where he is. Kirk is the one that probably would not come back until the playoffs, but there is hope that a lot of these guys that have missed time as of late will indeed be back in the lineup sooner rather than later. One final thought from Trevor Lawrence. It's what everybody's talking about, right? Prime time again. Playing Baltimore. Sunday Night Football returns to Jacksonville. It was not a good return to Monday Night Football. What's Trevor's thoughts on a primetime game against Baltimore this week?
Yeah, it's exciting, but like I said, for the Monday night game, it's just another game. For us, nothing changes. We just play a little bit later Sunday night, so we can't make it more than it is. Obviously, it's a great opportunity for us to take advantage of and to play well in front of a bigger audience and crowd and all that. And it's going to be a night game, and it's going to be the only game on Sunday night. So, that's exciting for us.
Wednesday night edition, Hacker After Dark, in for Baloo tonight, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Coming up in less than 10 minutes, Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated. He does a great job covering the National Football League. He's been with SI for a little bit of time now. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite guys to talk to. If you haven't heard any of my conversations with Matt Verderam, do yourself a favor and stay tuned, because he, unlike a lot of national guys, doesn't sugarcoat a whole lot. He's going to tell you what he thinks, and he's going to flat out tell you what he thinks about the Jaguars and primarily the Jaguar defense. It's a lot of brutal honesty, I would call it. But Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated coming up in less than 10 minutes. At the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour, we will talk a little college ball, the soap opera going on in Gainesville, the fallout with Florida State. Josh Pate, the Late Kick podcast and Late Kick Live. You also see him on CBS Sports and 24/7. He will be up with us here at about 7:30 this evening. One of the things I was thinking about driving in today is how quickly narratives can change in the National Football League. Usually in regards to teams, but in this instance, it's in regards to a division. I'm old enough to remember 3 months ago, roughly, when the season started, that people thought the AFC South was just going to be awful, right? It was the Jaguars and everybody else. Just a terrible division, would be competing with the NFC South for the worst division in football. But along the way, something happened in Houston, in Indianapolis, and to a lesser extent, Tennessee. And you could really make the argument right now that the AFC South is better than the AFC West. I don't think there's much of an argument there, actually. The South is better than the West. Could you make the argument the South is in the conversation with the East? Yeah, I think you could. I don't think it's as good as the North, but not many divisions are. You could realistically say the South has gone from being in conversation for the worst division in football to the second best in the conference. Tennessee, I think, has found something with Will Levis. We didn't talk much about this last night, but that comeback against Miami, I don't know if that was a meltdown. I don't know if that was a terrific performance by the Titans, maybe equal measures of both. But that is a comeback that we haven't seen in the National Football League in decades. I mean, what was the stat? A team down 14 with under 3 minutes to go had not won a game in regulation in like 40 years. Tennessee did it on Monday night. It was a crazy performance by Will Levis, a 24-year-old rookie quarterback. Ironically enough, Will Levis is 3 months older than Trevor Lawrence. Go figure on that one. Indianapolis, Shane Steichen should be in conversation for Coach of the Year. They lost Anthony Richardson a month into the year. They've played a lot of games this year without Jonathan Taylor. They flat out released Darius Leonard, who was thought to be one of their best defensive players. And if the playoffs started today, Indianapolis would be in at 7-6. They're 7-4 against every team in the NFL not named Jacksonville. They've done an incredible job with Gardner Minshew up there, Shane Steichen, the head coach. They got a big one on Saturday. 7-6 Pittsburgh and 7-6 Indianapolis. And then finally Houston, maybe the biggest surprise in the NFL, certainly one of them. Now they have injury problems now, but with C.J. Stroud and that young nucleus, they've certainly overachieved. So the AFC South has gone from no respect to not enough respect in the last 3 months. And it'll be interesting to see how it closes out. Again, the Jaguars should be the overwhelming favorite based on tiebreakers. I think 2-2 for Jacksonville gets you home as a division winner. Anything over that, obviously, you will also win the division and be guaranteed at least one home playoff game. Denmark, what do you got?
This just in on Hacker After Dark.
FSU linebacker DJ Lundy is announcing he's going to the transfer portal. He was expected to be FSU's best linebacker going into next year, and I guess he's going to see what he's got out there.
You know, I talked to Brent Beard last night about the transfer portal. It was Florida, Florida State, Miami, I think Georgia, Alabama, LSU. There were a number of schools that he listed that had 13 or more of their players from this past season that have already entered the portal. It's insane. The transfer portal is insane right now. Max Brown, who started a game for the Florida Gators as their quarterback 18 days ago against Florida State, committed to Charlotte yesterday and is now going to Charlotte to participate in their conditioning, getting ready for the 2024 season. He was the quarterback at Florida 3 weeks ago against Florida State. It is a crazy time of year. You got the transfer portal. A week from today is the first early signing period. Not to mention bowl practice. Bowl games begin on Saturday. College football's got to do something, man. They have lumped too much into the month of December. It's too compacted. I thought Bill Bender of the Sporting News made a great analogy with us on Monday night. What they've done with the transfer portal in the month of December would be like the National Football League starting free agency on Wild Card Weekend. I mean, you have teams in the playoff, Michigan, Alabama, right? Washington, Texas, teams in the playoff that are competing for a national championship in a couple of weeks that have guys in the transfer portal. Now, of course, most of these guys are not starters, but nevertheless, bowl practice is underway. College football playoff games are less than 3 weeks away. And you have guys entering the portal from these teams. It's insane. Insane where we are now in college football. No question about it. There's going to be guardrails put on it some way, somehow. In fact, I'm going to talk to Josh Pate, Late Kick Live, the Late Kick Pod, about this coming up in about 30 minutes. What can be done about the portal? Because you're getting guys now that are transferring 2 and 3 times. DJ Uiagalelei, right, from Clemson, he goes to Oregon State for 1 year, and now he's back in the portal. He's going to play at 3 different schools in 3 different years. At what point does that become a problem? At what point does that begin hurting the product? I'll tell you, the transfer portal to me has killed college basketball. There was a time with Florida and all these SEC schools that you might have known a couple of guys on the team, right? When Florida went to play Kentucky, you knew some of the Kentucky guys. Not anymore. When Florida would go play Tennessee, you knew some of the Tennessee guys. Not anymore. Quick, if you're a diehard Gator basketball fan, name me 2 players on the Tennessee Volunteers.
Not one.
Right. Name me 2 players on the Kentucky Wildcats.
I only know one person playing college basketball, and it's LeBron's son.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know the Gator roster pretty good, but I don't know any of the other teams. So the transfer portal to me in college basketball, I get it. It's for the players and whatever, but I think that's hurt that product a little bit. I hope we don't get to that point in college football, but I am a little concerned with the amount of guys that are transferring seemingly every year. Again, when you have a guy playing at 3 schools in 3 years, I think at some point you need to draw a line there. 641-1010, more on college football coming up at the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour. Coming up next, back into the world of the NFL, Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated. Let's talk Jaguars. Let's talk AFC South. Let's look around the rest of the AFC as we get ready for Sunday Night Football. Returning to Jacksonville, Jaguars and the Ravens. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. And in case you're wondering, because I assume, of course, all of you are wondering, the answer is yes. Leon Searcy, Dave Campo, and myself will go deep into the evening, early hours Monday morning. We will have a 5th quarter for you 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Ravens go final. Jaguars didn't do us any favors after Cincinnati. We had to stick around and talk about a loss. I really hope the outcome Sunday night is different, and we're talking about a victory in the early hours of Monday morning with the 5th quarter. Matt Verderam, Sports Illustrated, SI.com. Next, Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark.
It's the moment when they were rolling.
Let's keep it rolling.
Tire Outlet brings you the drive of the game.
And this place is rocking right now.
Tire Outlet. Wholesale prices, premium service. On 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are attempting to sell 2,000 vehicles this December. How? I've instructed my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. We have thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground and priced to sell. We guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. At Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, we're here to wow you.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is the sports medicine leader in Northeast Florida. We're proud to be the official sports medicine provider for your hometown teams, including the Jaguars, Sharks, Axemen, Armada, and the Jumbo Shrimp. We have the most cutting-edge resources for sports medicine care, including Active Armor casting, Alter-G anti-gravity treadmills, and highly trained physicians and athletic trainers. JOI is truly where the pros go, and so should you.
Roland Reich Plumbing, there when you need them. Big or small plumbing problem, call Roland Reich Plumbing anytime at 260-7059. 260-7059, where quality and experience count.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here. You've heard me talking about Pella Windows and Doors. With great ratings and expert reviews, you know they're high quality and energy efficient products. So what's your next step? Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or just stop by the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Their professional design consultants will guide you through your entire project from start to finish. And that's the quality and service you can expect from Pella Windows and Doors.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to Cam Locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Now the Performance Painting High Performance Play of the Game. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
With the key member out for the Teal and Black offense, Trevor Lawrence has needed a little help from his friends, and one rookie receiver is showing the Phenom that he has a friend in him. In the fourth quarter, Lawrence would find Parker Washington for a 19-yard touchdown, making the score 28-21 with 8:52 left in regulation. The Washington score is your Performance Painting Play of the Game.
Hey everyone, Jason Parker, CEO of Performance Painting here. 'Tis the season for giving gifts, and this year our gift to you is waiving the power washing fee when prepping to paint your commercial building or home exterior. That's a $500 to $3,000 savings back in your pocket depending on the square footage. And no matter who you hire, make sure they power wash using the proper methods, which includes being careful around your expensive windows. Learn more at performancepaintingjacks.com or call today at 849-2499.
Performance Painting.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Right now, save big at Key Buick GMC, like $14,000 off of all new GMC trucks. Rates as low as 0.9% for 36 months, 3.9% for 48 months, 4.9% up to 60 months, and 6.9% APR for 72 months. No payments up to 90 days. As always, whenever you purchase a new vehicle from Key Buick GMC, it comes with the lifetime powertrain warranty. Across the street from Tinseltown, Southside and Gate.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Ravens Sunday night. Of course, you'll hear it right here on your home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. 1010XL. Baltimore 10-3 on the year, coming in to play a Jaguar team now sitting at 8-5. Let's preview the game and look around the rest of the American Football Conference with Matt Verderam. He does a terrific job covering the National Football League for Sports Illustrated, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Matt, how you doing, man?
Doing well. How are you?
Matt, we're good. Well, I guess we're good. The Jaguars have lost 3 out of 5. The last time you and I talked, Jacksonville was 6-2 and all was right with the world. And since then, annihilated by San Francisco, heartbreaking losses to Cincy and Cleveland. Jaguars are reeling, Matt. What's your thought on them right now at 8-5?
I think they're still going to win the AFC South, but if their pass defense doesn't get better, I think that's probably about all they're winning. Because at some point, you got to get off the field. You got to play defense. And when you're getting lit up by Jake Browning and Joe Flacco, like, you got a problem. You got a big problem. Because in the playoffs, you're seeing better quarterbacks than that. You're seeing better passing offenses than that. Jacksonville's a bottom 5 pass defense in terms of yards allowed per game through the air. And I think, look, this is a team that there's talent, but, Christian Kirk is hurt right now. Lawrence is obviously playing, but he's injured. You've got a defense that they got to step up. They don't have to be great, but they've got to be decent. And when you're getting torched by backup quarterbacks, Flacco is essentially the 4th stringer for the Browns. When you're giving up 30 plus to teams like that with those quarterbacks, that's a 5-alarm fire.
Always love Matt Verderam. He doesn't sugarcoat a whole lot, and I agree with you, man. Absolutely. The defense was terrible. I guess the one silver lining I have from Sunday's game, and this is what I'm trying to tell Jaguar fans who believe the sky is falling, I don't know if Jacksonville could play much worse. They turned the ball over 4 times.
Yeah.
David Njoku could have fair caught 2 touchdowns. I mean, it was ridiculous, and yet it's 31-27 with an onside kick with 90 seconds to go. So from that standpoint, as bad as they played in Cleveland, they were still very much in that game.
Yeah, they were. I mean, listen, that's true. I think, you could definitely look at it that way. I mean, Lawrence's 3 picks, they fumbled the ball. Everything they could have done to lose, they did. And, you look at the game and say, okay, well, listen, a lot to clean up. But, yeah, there were some things offensively. You walked out of that game saying Cleveland's got a good defense. And you did hang 27 points on them. Look, I don't think the sky's falling, but I think that if you're being honest with yourself, at some point here, you got to play defense. I mean, you just got to stop somebody. And San Francisco let them up. Houston let them up earlier in the year. Kansas City had 3 turnovers, but Kansas City moved the ball for huge chunks of that game. At some point here, you got to stop someone. You got to be able to cover. There's got to be somebody other than Josh Allen who's consistently winning up front. It's a situation where, look, the Jags are going to make the playoffs. I still think they'll win the division. But at some point here, if you're going to get in the playoffs, you're going to play a team with a real passing attack. It's a problem. I mean, it's some juncture you've got to be able to shut off some of these passing games and keep teams under 240, 50 yards.
And they got to win at home too, Matt. I mean, they're 6-1 outside of Everbank Stadium. They're 2-4 inside Everbank Stadium. That brings me to Sunday night, the number 1 seed right now in the AFC. The Baltimore Ravens roll in. Look, I think every team in the AFC has a flaw. Every team in the AFC has something they need to work on. Baltimore probably the fewest of any with flaws. There's some issues, but clearly 10-3 speaks for itself.
It does. But it's funny. I actually think Jacksonville's going to win the game. Because I think Baltimore, the flaw they have is I don't trust their passing game. If there's anything about Baltimore you look at and go, passing game's not great. I mean, Jackson is certainly a very competent quarterback, but he is more of a dual threat than he is to say, I'm going to drop back and slice up all game long. They don't have a top-tier receiver. Mark Andrews is out for the season. That's a team that, if you can shut off the run, you can shut them down. I mean, you can really take away a lot of what they do on offense. That's not easy to shut down the run. They're an excellent rushing team. But, I think if you're Jacksonville, that's the matchup you want. If I'm Jacksonville, I would much rather see a team like Baltimore right now than a team like in Miami who's just going to drop back and throw all over the place. Or Buffalo. And I know they beat Buffalo earlier in the year, but Buffalo to me, schematically, is a tougher matchup. Baltimore's tough, and Baltimore's got a great defense. I mean, Jacksonville in this game, look, with the Jags, you like the short passing game. That helps against the Ravens, who have the most sacks in football, and they get a lot of pressure. You can get the ball out quick. I mean, to me, this has got to be a game where Etienne and Ingram really make a big difference, where you can swing that ball out, get it out quick, beat a guy one-on-one in space. I mean, they're going to have their opportunities. They're going to have to find a way to do it if Jacksonville's going to win the game.
Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Matt, for a while now, the 4 division leaders in the AFC have been the same, right? Baltimore, Kansas City, Jacksonville, Miami. Of those 4, who do you think, with a month to go, is at the greatest risk of not winning their division?
Well, I think Baltimore's definitely going to win the North. I think the Chiefs are going to win the West. I don't think the Chiefs are going to lose another game. I get, in an odd way, Miami, because Buffalo, you look at their schedule and go, well, tough schedule. If they beat Dallas, they have the Chargers and the Patriots. They're going to win those games. I mean, they're going, if they can beat Dallas, which is a big if, a very big if, but if they do it, they're going to be 10-6 going into the last week of the season, and they play Miami in Miami. And Miami just lost one of the most ridiculous football games I've ever seen. And the Dolphins, okay, you get the Jets next week. They got Dallas, and then they're at Baltimore. I mean, there's a real world where they're 10-6 and Buffalo's 10-6, and they're playing a game that, depending on the breakers, especially for Miami, that could be like you win and you win the division, you lose and you miss the playoffs. So I would say that Miami, after last night's catastrophe against the Titans, they are at the biggest risk.
Yeah, that was unbelievable what Tennessee did. Jacksonville actually sees Tennessee Week 18. We'll see if that game means something for the Jaguars. That brings me to the AFC South before we look at the AFC as a whole. Boy, real opportunity, Matt, for both Indy and Houston last week. Neither one were able to take advantage of it. Indy gets boat raced by Cincinnati. And I got to tell you, the Houston loss to New York, to me, was like the Jacksonville loss to Cincinnati. It only counts one time in the L column, but, man, they got beat up. Just like Jacksonville got beat up against the Bengals, Houston lost Nico Collins. We know C.J. Stroud's in the protocol right now. Will Anderson left with an ankle. That was a bad day for the Texans.
A brutal day. A brutal day. I mean, look, that's a game for the Texans. You're thinking to yourself going into that day, like, hey, we're going to win this game, get to 8-5, really, even if it's a wild card, move toward the playoffs, and you give up 300 yards passing to Zach Wilson. I mean, that's almost impossible to give 300 yards to Zach Wilson. I mean, that team can't score a point. And you get not only beat, but as you mentioned, all these injuries. Tank Dell is already out for the year. No, they've got problems. I mean, and that's a team I think, and I know myself included, you looked at before that Jets game, well, they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, look at their schedule. All of a sudden, now you look at them, go, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. And, Indianapolis and Houston play Week 18. That game might be a win-in scenario. I mean, that might be, hey, same like as you said about Miami and Buffalo. I think Miami probably wins the tiebreaker against enough teams that probably all right. Buffalo might not. Buffalo might have to win to get in. But Indy and Houston, Week 18, that could very well be essentially a playoff game at Lucas Oil.
The benefit the Jaguars have, they're 8-5. The Colts and the Texans are 7-6. But the tiebreakers all favor Jacksonville. So essentially the Jaguars are up 2 games with 4 to go on both teams. Give Jaguar fans some hope here before we branch out to the rest of the conference. You feel pretty safe that the Jags are going to win the division?
Yeah, they're going to win the division. I'd be shocked. I mean, unless Lawrence has to miss time or something. Yeah, they're going to. Look, correct me if I'm wrong. Jacksonville still has Carolina, right?
Yeah, they're Baltimore this week, at Tampa, Carolina at home, at Tennessee.
There's no way they're going worse than 2-2, and I'd be shocked if they went worse than 3-1. I mean, look, Jacksonville's going to make the playoffs, going to win the division. The question is going to be, when they get there, can they stop anybody? Or has this just become one of these things where Jacksonville's going to have to score 35 points? I mean, that to me is what I look at, because in the playoffs, I don't want to say I don't care about your run defense. Like, your run defense matters. But in the postseason, when you're seeing the Mahomeses of the world, in most years, the Burrows of the world, Josh Allen, and in some years Herbert, who of course Jacksonville was able to beat last year in that crazy game, like, you're going to have to score points. And you have to be able to go off field. It doesn't always have to be dominating, but you've got to be able to get a stop on 3rd and 8. You've got to be able to get a stop on 3rd and 6. Get off the field. That's my biggest question. But in terms of the AFC South, no, I still absolutely think Jacksonville's going to win it.
Final moments, Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated. Matt, if we assume Chiefs, Ravens, Dolphins, Jaguars are in either division winners or the wild card, that would leave 3 spots for 7 teams that are all 7-6 or 8-5 right now. How do you see the final 3 spots in the AFC shaking out?
I think Cleveland's going to get in. They're 8-5. Flacco, I think will give them enough. They got the Bears at home. They got the Jets at home. They played the Bengals last week of the year. They owned the Bengals. They beat them every time they play them. I'll take Cleveland to get one of the spots. If C.J. Stroud is good and he's healthy, I still think of all those teams outside of Buffalo, he's the best quarterback. I'll take them. I'll take them to get in, to find a way at 10 wins. And then after that, I think it's just going to come down to a slew of tiebreakers. And Indianapolis has the schedule that I look at Indy and I think they probably find a way to get to 10. So let's put it this way. I think Cleveland will get in. I think one of Indy and Houston will get in. And then if Buffalo can beat Dallas, I think they get into the playoffs. If they can't, I actually think Denver's going to get to 10 because Denver's schedule is a joke. They play Detroit on the road, which is hard. And after that, they got the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Patriots. And they win the breaker against Buffalo. So give me Cleveland, give me one of the AFC South teams, and then Buffalo if they can beat Dallas. If not, give me Denver.
I mean, it's parity at its finest, right? Only 2 teams have officially been eliminated. I believe Carolina and New England. So we got 4 weeks to go, and there are 30 teams that are still mathematically alive. The NFL's got to love this.
I mean, the New York Giants are 1 game out of a playoff spot right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. There's no doubt. They got a big win over Green Bay on Monday night. Quickly, Matt, while we have you, NFC looks like it's San Francisco and Dallas maybe. Philadelphia is leaking water. Detroit is leaking water. But are those the 4? Is there anybody else in the NFC that could do anything?
No, the South isn't even a real division. And Seattle is just falling apart. I liked Seattle earlier in the year, but Geno went on that turnover run, and now he's hurt. I don't buy anybody. The Packers, to me, look, they're fine. Like, if they get in the playoffs, they could maybe be a little interesting in a wild card game. Same thing with the Rams, but not enough that I would buy them as like an actual threat. Look, I think it's going to be San Francisco's the favorite. I'm not sleeping on Philly. I look at Philly a lot in the same way I look at Kansas City. Those teams, like, they have flaws, they have real issues, but at the same point, like, you line up to play that team in January, I wouldn't. So I think Philadelphia, while kind of a wounded animal at the moment, I still think home or away, they're a team that nobody is excited to face.
Before you moved to Sports Illustrated, you did a lot of work in KC, and I'm just curious with Mahomes and what he did on the field after that game. Obviously, he addressed it in the media earlier this week. The fact that they've lost, I think, 3 out of 5. It is very abnormal to see Kansas City at 8-5 and losing 3 games at home. And Chris Jones getting into it right with an assistant. I mean, is there trouble in paradise there, Matt, or is this something they can quickly get rid of?
No, there's a lot of trouble in paradise right now with them. I mean, they've lost 3 out of 4, 4 out of 6. They can't score. I mean, they cannot score. They move the ball up and down the field like crazy, but they lead the league in drops. They're top 5 in turnovers. They're the most penalized offensive line in football. They just can't stop beating themselves. I mean, I would argue if the Chiefs get to the playoffs, which they will, and they play their best game, they'll go to the Super Bowl. They're the most complete AFC team when they're right. The problem is they're very rarely right this year. I mean, they've only had 2 games where they haven't had a turnover. They turn over constantly. And their receivers are terrible outside of Rashee Rice. So it's been a big struggle for him. And, look, Mahomes, the little bit I know of him as a person, I mean, he's always been a class guy. That, to me, while unacceptable and out of character, both the way he was with Josh Allen, who I know he apologized to, and then after the game whining about the officiating, which was correct, by the way, it was a penalty. I don't think that had much to do with the official. I think that was a year's worth of frustration that he can't say. I think he would have loved to have gone up there and just said, you know what? Kadarius Toney's killing us, and Sky Moore's a net negative, and MVS is a net negative, and we have nobody I can throw a ball to other than Travis Kelce and have any reliability with. But he can't say that. So it came out as yelling at the officials. But he's extremely frustrated, and so are they, because they're wasting a year of a great defense and a great quarterback.
Matt, it's a big one in Jacksonville on Sunday with the Jaguars and the Ravens. Tell the good folks here in Jacksonville when they head on over to Sports Illustrated what they'll see leading into this game and leading into this NFL weekend.
Yeah, so I've got my quarterback rankings to go up Thursday. I've got one matchup to watch, kind of an under-the-radar thing that goes out on Friday, one matchup for each game. On Sunday, I'll have my running column. You can just go to SI.com. It's right there on the front page in the big box. And I give my thoughts on what every game means, big picture. As they're ending, I give my rapid reaction to it. There's a film study out that actually involves the Jags and the Browns. So that came out this morning. So you can go actually, no, it comes out tomorrow morning. It comes out tomorrow morning. You should check that out. So there's plenty. There's plenty. There's no shortage of stuff to read.
He's one of our favorites, Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Matt, appreciate it, man. We'll do it again soon.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.
Put some fun in your Monday.
Something big is going down.
Get entertaining insight on Sunday's games all day Monday.
Oh, this is huge!
Dandy Foods Post-Game Monday. Makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
Did you know the 2023 Honda CR-V Hybrid never needs to be plugged in? The onboard system charges the batteries for you. When you think Honda, think hybrid. Good for the environment, great for your budget. Visit your local Honda dealer to experience the CR-V of the future today.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Now, the Florida State Seminole Report, brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team.
The Florida State men's basketball home game against Lipscomb on Saturday, December 30th, has been changed to a 12 noon Eastern Time tip-off. The two teams have agreed to the change of game time because the Seminole football team is scheduled to play Georgia in the Orange Bowl. FSU has won its most recent game against Lipscomb on December 15th, 2021 by a final score of 97-60. I'm RJ Saunders with your Ag Pro. Seminole Report.
AgPro has been family owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Lauren Brooks here. Tired of joint pain holding you back? Try BioTarget from Injury Care Centers. This treatment will prolong the life of your joints by targeting the root of your pain and delivering more regenerative cells to the affected area, ensuring faster and more effective healing, making BioTarget the most advanced regenerative treatment. For a limited time, BioTarget starts as low as $499. Call Injury Care Centers or visit GoBioTarget.com. That's GoBioTarget.com.
Tailgaters Parking is ready for football. Tailgaters proudly offers game day parking. Arrive 4 hours before kickoff and enjoy indoor restrooms, Growler's full-service bar and grill, and easy access in and out. Visit tailgatorsparking.com.
Can the Canes calm the storm in Coral Gables and rejoin college football's elite?
I'm JJ LaSelva, and I bring you news and notes you need to know from Miami every week on the Hurricane Report.
Brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve on 1010XL.
Toilet or shower not draining? Water bill high? So many issues you want to cry? Call Mr. Rooter of Jacksonville. Have your number 2 business serviced by your number 1 plumber. Let us do your dirty work. Call us today.
Mr. Rooter, Mr. Rooter. It's the biggest, brightest end of the year clearance sale at First Coast Lighting and Fans on Phillips Highway. Get 40 to 60% off display lighting, fans, and home decor to make room for new merchandise coming next year. Hurry into the store today because quantities are limited and their best selections won't last long at 40 to 60% off clearance pricing. Upgrade your furnishings for the holidays with the biggest savings of the year at First Coast Lighting and Fans on Phillips Highway.
Salvatore's Pizza coming to Jacksonville. Salvatores.com.
Mark Watson for Hardball Creative. Free promo tip. Put your logo on golf balls and give them to clients who are bad golfers. More hacks equals more exposure. Trust me, it's science. Hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Hard Rock Bet presents Legal in Florida.
You can bet the game on Hard Rock Bet. No more betting inside your head. Now Hard Rock Bet is legal in Florida. Now Hard Rock Bet is legal in Florida. Legal in Florida. It's safe, it's legal. We'll repeat that it is legal. Top rated sportsbook and it's the only one that's legal.
Get a no-regret first bet up to $100 when you sign up now. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 and over and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Bank in the 2023 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
It's Beard's Diamonds' incredible Christmas sale.
If you're popping the question soon, celebrating an anniversary, or shopping for the holidays, you do not want to miss this once-in-a-lifetime sale.
But hurry, it ends Christmas Eve.
At the St. John's Town Center or at BeardsDiamonds.com.
Golfers, when's the last time you played Cimarron? New ownership, improved greens, fairways, and tee boxes, a new clubhouse, interior, exterior, including the Stone and Barrel Tap House, indoor-outdoor bar, live music. Practice, learn, and play program is only $59 a month. Unlimited range balls, weekly clinic from teaching professionals. Golf every day, $25 after 2 o'clock. Whether you scratch or just like getting out with your buddies, you have to try the new Cimarron Golf Club on 210.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This just in on Hacker After Dark.
All right. We got Josh Pate of the Late Kick Live, the Late Kick Pod, talking college football in less than 10 minutes. Before we get there, the SEC schedule is being announced for 2024. We already knew who Florida was playing. We knew where they were playing them. Now we know when they are playing them. Quickly, the month of September for the Gators. They will open up actually in the last day of August, August 31st, at home against Miami. Samford comes in September 7th, Texas A&M September 14th, and Florida's first road game is at Mississippi State. So the first four for the Gators next year: home Miami, home Samford, home Texas A&M, at Mississippi State. Then a bye week, month of October. They only play 3 games. UCF at home, at Tennessee, Kentucky at home. So again, only 3 games in October. UCF in Gainesville, in Knoxville against the Vols, at Kentucky, and listen to the month of November. Georgia here, at Texas, LSU in Gainesville, Ole Miss in Gainesville, at Florida State. Are you kidding me? Again, the month of November. The cocktail party, the very next week at Texas, the very next week home LSU, the next week home Ole Miss, and then finally at Florida State. Good luck with that schedule. If that's not the toughest schedule in college football, I'd like to see what is. That is brutal for the Gators. More on that in the days to come. We will get into college football. Josh Pate, transfer portal. Billy Napier, the fallout from Florida State and Tallahassee, and much more. That's coming up next on a Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We're in for Blue here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Save big at Key Buick GMC, up to $9,000 off on all new 23 Buick Enclaves, or up to $8,500 off new 23 Buick Envisions. Low APR rates like 1.9% APR financing for 36 months, 4.5% for 48 or 60 months, and 5.44% APR for up to 72 months. It comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty whenever you purchase a new vehicle from Key Buick GMC, across the street from Tinseltown, Southside and Gate.
Experience the Canal Water System's difference, bringing purity and affordability right to your tap. Say goodbye to hard water woes and hello to clean, soft water for your family. Search KENAI Water, Jacksonville.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. If you're looking for jewelry this holiday season, we have what you want at Underwoods, and we carry the hottest and best names you'll find anywhere in North Florida. The biggest name in designer jewelry is David Yurman, and his looks are more popular today than they were years ago when Underwoods introduced this designer to Jacksonville. And we carry David Yurman not just in ladies' jewelry, but also in timepieces in his extensive collection of men's jewelry. If it's a watch you're looking for, we carry Rolex and other watches considered to be the best in their price points. We also carry extensive collections of the jewelry we import directly from Italy and Spain that are always popular for their quality, style, and value. So if you want the hottest and most popular jewelry and want to be waited on by the most professional jewelry staff in the business, stop by Underwoods.
Underwoods, where customers are served with quality and respect. In San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra. Underwood Jewelers.
I'm Hacker, and I'll get you ready for Billy Napier's second season on the Florida sideline during the Gator Bites podcast, presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, with new episodes dropping every Wednesday. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying. They can also signal a major problem or electrical emergency. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
888-8 Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars. Now you can enjoy Brackish Vodka and Jimmy Hula's in St. Augustine, 709 South Ponce de Leon Boulevard.
The next time you have an orthopedic injury, call Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. That's what we do. I'm Bob Arablo, president of Your Jacksonville Icemen. We've been using them to take care of our athletes, and you can rely on them to take care of yours.
This is Dr. George Acevedo of Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Thanks to all of the athletes who ask us to help them get back on their feet.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
With Golden Hammer Roofing, enjoy the benefits of their 5-year workmanship warranty. Peace of mind knowing you're protected. There's no out-of-pocket should you have an issue. Having a transferable warranty is a key home selling point for the future. If there's an issue, we've been in the business for over 30 years and will answer the phone. Call or visit Golden Hammer today for their 5-year workmanship warranty.
Golden Hammer Roofing and Gutters.
Golden Hammer!
The golden standard in roofing.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I'm on the exact pace as Mike Dempsey. After 4 weeks, I've dropped 23 pounds with Awaken 180 weight loss. Faster results than weight loss meds and results that can last a lifetime. What's stopping you? Awaken180weightloss.com.
Give the gift of joy this season. Claire's Grill is a Toys for Tots drop-off at all 3 locations. Bring in a toy and enjoy a free appetizer because spreading cheer tastes even better. Claire's Grill, where the neighborhood meets and gives this holiday season.
Dell's holiday event is one of their biggest sales of the year. Shop limited time deals on laptops like the stylish, innovative XPS 13, engineered to do it all on the Intel Evo platform. Plus, save big on ultra-sharp monitors and top brand accessories. It's the perfect time to upgrade any home, business, or gaming setup powered by Intel Core processors. Shop now at Dell.com/deals to take advantage of huge savings and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Picture walking through your home and feeling the natural elegance that only hardwood can provide. I'm Shane with Renew Solutions, and for replacing or refinishing wood floors, I've got you covered. Visit RenewJacksFloors.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The college football regular season in the rearview mirror. Bowl season begins on Saturday, and there's an awful lot to discuss still with Florida and the saga going on in Gainesville, and Florida State and their fan base still not yet recovered from getting left out of the college football playoff. With all that being said, let's bring in Josh Pate, one of the voices of college football. He of the Late Kick Pod, Late Kick Live. You also see him all over 24/7 and CBS Sports HQ. Josh, appreciate the time today, man. How are you?
I'm good. So let me paint the picture. I'm at a railroad crossing right now. There's a train going by in front of me, and what it feels like is like 1, 2, 3, 4 as you watch these cars go by. That's kind of what it feels like during transfer portal season when it combines with playoff selection season, when it combines with recruiting season. There's no, and by the way, coaching search is happening too. There's no possible way, even if you stay glued to your phone at all times, that you can keep up with everything going on in the sport right now. It's wild.
Josh, everybody's in agreement that there's too much going on right now. I completely agree with you. What is going to be done about that, if anything?
I have no idea. I think ultimately, and this is not an overnight thing, but I think ultimately it will come down to conferences. And it'll come down to conferences very broadly. So I'm not just talking about one thing. I'm talking about overall, whether it be transfer portal or whether it be NIL or whether it be, anything you're complaining about right now, frankly, in the sport. It's not going to be an NCAA salvation. It's not going to be a Congress salvation. It's going to be the leagues themselves, the conferences themselves. They really have to get tough with their member institutions, look in the mirror and say, look, there's enough money on the table for everyone. There's a ton of opportunity on the table here for everyone. If we handle it right, the biggest enemy we have is ourselves. And so we got to figure stuff out. And just because you don't have to agree to a thing here or there doesn't mean you don't agree to a thing here or there if it's for the greater good of the sport. But greater good of the sport, I think that's 5 words that I just said that you never hear talked about, because no one's out for the greater good of the sport right now. It's all about self-interest. And I'm not blaming those folks, because that's kind of how it's had to be. I just hope that's not the way it is in the future. And I think the conference, the league office, that's probably where it starts and ends.
Josh, along those lines, there are thousands of players in the transfer portal. I mean, thousands. It's crazy. That's not what the transfer portal was originally designed to do, right? I mean, are they going to make any changes to that?
Well, so let's go back to what I just said. I talk about the conference, and I think where we're headed ultimately is we're headed to a world where either outright employment status is granted to kids or something akin to that is collectively bargained is granted to kids. And that sounds bad for, the people who love amateur athletics and who love the way it has been, but I'm not sure it's the worst thing in the world. In fact, I think it may be better than what we have now. And the reason goes back to the question you just asked. How do you put guardrails on anything? Right now you can't, because no one's agreed to anything. But I think when you collectively bargain and you look at the television money that's about to be pumped into the sport, if you say, let's say, play outside linebacker for the University of Florida, and you're cut in on the media rights deal, I am requiring you, if you're going to get access to that, I'm requiring you, when you put your name on a scholarship to go to Florida, that is locking you in for a certain amount of time. And in other words, it's going to have guardrails on it to where you can't just go in the portal anytime you want to. You can't do that. There's give and take here. And if you want access to this huge revenue pie over here, then you're going to have to give us some guarantees as well. Because in the real world, when you bargain something, that's how it works. You get something in exchange for something. Again, that's not an overnight thing, but I think ultimately that's where we're headed.
And I want to get to Florida and Florida State, but you piqued my interest. Like, we're seeing it with DJU, who's going on a visit to Florida State. He already went from Clemson to Oregon State, understanding why he's leaving Oregon State. They're about to be relegated to the Mountain West Conference. I mean, I get that, so that's maybe not the best example. But he's now transferring again, and I believe there was some ruling that came down today that says for now there's no problem with players transferring twice. To me, that's where the gray area starts. If you want to transfer once, okay. But if you're on 3 different teams in 3 different years, I think people will begin to have problems with that.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I will say this, though. I've always been a proponent of a total exemption once your head coach leaves. If your head coach leaves a program, then I don't mind those kids being able to transfer. I also, therefore, don't mind when a new staff comes in, the scholarship limitations, the amount of kids they can take are a little bit more relaxed, because it stands to reason they may be taking over a job where half the roster just left because the previous coach hid the exit door. So I think in a 95% general sense, I do agree with you. And I think we're headed towards a world one day, maybe 5 months from now, maybe 5 years from now, where you don't see it quite as wide open. I think there's coming a time where we'll look back on the 2021 to 2024 or 5 era and say, wow, remember how crazy it was for a while? Luckily, we got that under control.
Josh Pate of the Late Kick Pod, Late Kick Live. You also see him there at CBS Sports HQ and on 247sports.com. All right, Josh, let's bring it to our neck of the woods. Let's begin in Gainesville. Billy Napier will be granted a 3rd year despite 11-14 the first 2 years on the job. Clearly, they have to fix a lot of things. He let some defensive coaches go. He's bringing in some new defensive hires, but they've lost an awful lot to the transfer portal. What's your thought on everything going on in Gainesville right now?
Well, it's not an overnight fix. It wasn't when he took the job, an overnight fix. I think that it was kind of jarring to see still how undisciplined they were at times on the field this year. And the reason that's jarring is because that's not Billy Napier. Anyone who knows Billy Napier or who has observed his teams in the past, that's not a hallmark of a Napier team. That's not a hallmark of Napier as a man. And ideally, the program is a thumbprint of its head coach. And when those things don't match up, it means there's a disconnect between you and trying to implement your culture in a program. So whatever moves he makes, I mean, I think obviously there's been a lot of speculation about special teams and about how they divide up staff roles. Got 2 offensive line coaches, for example. I don't think he's dumb or anything like that. I mean, if fans figured out the moves that need to be made, Billy Napier knows as well. It's just a lot easier said than done. And also, you know, how open is he to that? And I'm not talking about what people think. I mean, let's cut him open. Let's get inside his mind. How open is he to that? Or does he view his way as being effective? It just needs more time, or we didn't get the right bounces this year. We didn't have the right guys on the team this year. This time of year is very, very pivotal for those sorts of things.
And look, Josh, I said all season I think Napier deserves at least 3 years on the job. I think that's only fair to give a guy 3 years. But that's my limit, right? I mean, if they don't show gradual improvement, they're 11-14. And I look at that schedule next year, good grief, man. They got 3 Power 5 non-conference games on top of a very hard SEC slate. You could argue it's probably the toughest schedule in the country. I mean, is Napier going to be on the hottest seat in America when 2024 begins?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to think around the rest of the country. It's safe to say in the SEC he will be. And, you know, I've thought for a while his future was not tied to 2023 unless they went like 2-10. I thought his future was tied to the 2024 season and the 2024 recruiting class. And that's been in a state of flux right now. And I am plenty wise enough to just withhold judgment until the signing class is signed, because that stuff changes by the hour. But I mean, DJ Lagway, if he's held on to, and the majority of that class is held on to, and they go into spring and then summer, and you've got that daunting schedule on the horizon. I think one of the good parts about that is no one will have 10-win expectations. But this year they didn't either. The over-under was 5.5, and they still fell short. So yeah, I don't think it's unfair at all. It is totally fair in the transfer portal modern age to give a guy 3 years. And you cannot say you got screwed. You cannot say that you weren't given enough time. 3 years is plenty enough time in today's college football.
Couple of more for Josh Pate, Late Kick Live and the Late Kick Pod. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Josh, you mentioned giving the business, right? Well, Florida State fans still feel like they were given the business 10 days ago, or I guess 9 days ago. Your thoughts on that whole situation? And unfortunately for Florida State, they're likely to go down in history because when the playoff expands to 12 in 2024, we'll never see a scenario like that again, where an undefeated Power 5 conference team is left out of the playoff.
Yeah, I think I've probably got the most convoluted stance on this out of anyone I've heard, because I think Florida State got screwed, but I also think Alabama should have been in over them, which sounds like it makes no sense. Here's where my mind's at. I've got my own separate way. I'm not a committee member, so I got my own separate way that I would decide the thing. And it would take a long time for me to spell that out. But bottom line is, based on the way I would approach it personally, I thought Bama should have been in over Florida State. But that's not how the committee should work. I freely admit my way is not the way we should choose teams in this sport. It would be a disaster if we used my way. The committee's approach, if they actually follow the protocols they claim to, should have had Florida State in. And I think they moved the goalpost. I think they BS'd people when they said we're about putting the best teams in over the most deserving. They said that a week out from Selection Sunday. That is not the protocol that they've stuck to in the past. And so, you know, whether it was the Georgia TCU game last year that jarred them, or whether it was the Jordan Travis injury this year that scared them away, whatever the case is, it's not how it should have worked if we're operating based on their stated procedures. So I personally would have had Bama in, but I'm not the committee, and my criteria is not the committee. If that governing body, if that committee stuck to their procedures, FSU should have been in that thing, and they got screwed by being left out.
You know, one of the problems of the playoff, and it's going to get even worse next year with the 12-teamer, here in our area, our 4 big teams that we cover are Florida, Miami, Florida State, and Georgia. And we got a game in South Florida in a couple weeks between 2 teams, and the Bulldogs and the Seminoles, that have a combined record of, 25-1, right? And I'm not sure if anybody cares. And I don't know what to do about that in the world of college football. It's the reality of where we are. But that Georgia-Florida State game on paper looks terrific, but in reality, I think it's going to be just a shell of what it could have been.
Yeah, it's a shame. And look, I've got my own philosophies on that. I think when we brought the college football playoff to this sport, it did a lot of good, but one of the unintended consequences was we sacrificed the quality and integrity of bowl season as a whole. But it's not the playoff's fault necessarily. I think it's more the way the playoff was marketed and presented and promoted. And there was that whole marketing mechanism for a long time, the Who's In campaign. And that was all you had force-fed down your throat from August to December is who's in. And it kind of led you to think that any game that didn't have playoff implications was second or third tier. And then we had phrases like meaningless game and meaningless bowl game kind of inserted into our lexicon. No one ever said that before. And those were adults saying that, by the way, not kids. Kids heard it. Players heard it. Players started to believe in the adults saying those things. And so they started opting out of bowl season. They viewed it as inconsequential because it was presented as inconsequential. And now folks want to ask, what do we do to save bowl season? You can't do anything more to save that than you can put toothpaste back in the tube. Genie's out of the bottle now. So I don't know what radical steps people want to take to save bowl season, but until they figure something out, this is just the way it's going to be. And I hate it, by the way.
Final moments, Josh Pate, Late Kick Pod, and Late Kick Live. All right, Josh, the 4 teams that did get into the playoff. We got Michigan and Alabama. You got Washington and Texas. Who do you like in the semifinals, and who do you ultimately think will raise the trophy at the end?
I do not know where I'm going to go in the Sugar Bowl yet. I do lean Alabama in the Rose Bowl. I was in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, watched that game from field level. I've seen Michigan in person a couple of times from field level as well. I just convinced myself in that SEC title game, whichever one of those teams comes out of it is my favorite in the playoff because I know both of them were banged up pretty bad. Georgia out wide and Alabama on the lines of scrimmage. And I said, and I still believe, whichever one of them makes it through Atlanta and gets 3 weeks to heal up will be a team that is shot out of a cannon come late December. And I think that'll be the case. Look, I know Michigan hasn't given up explosive plays all year, but Bama's gotten them all year, and they've gotten them because of that mobile threat at quarterback and a bunch of different pass catchers. They've had like 11 or 12 guys involved this year. So I think the winner of Alabama-Michigan would probably be my lean to win it all, and right now I'd go Bama.
Josh, as we wrap up, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, the Late Kick Pod, Late Kick Live. I know you can watch it on YouTube. That's where I normally absorb it, but where can they find your program?
Yeah, pretty much wherever you want to go. If you're on YouTube, Late Kick with Josh Pate. Got multiple live shows per week, a bunch of clips over there. And if you're a podcast type, Late Kick with Josh Pate on every platform imaginable. We basically build the show to meet you wherever you want to be met at.
Josh, I tell you this every time we have you on. You do an absolutely terrific job. Congratulations on all your success with your show and everything going on. And we'll talk again soon, my friend. Thank you.
I appreciate it, brother. Merry Christmas.
Now, today's takeaways, brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
And thank you to Josh Pate of Late Kick Live, the Late Kick Pod, CBS Sports HQ, 247sports.com. He's everywhere, and I mean it, man. Josh does an absolutely terrific job. He's one of the guys I go to for college football, and we certainly appreciate him taking time out for us here on Hacker After Dark. My big takeaway of the evening, well, it goes back to the Jacksonville Jaguars. This will be the 7th game at Everbank Stadium this year. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 2-4, and they have been embarrassed in a couple of those games in losses to Houston and San Francisco. The defense, well, they've also been awful the last couple of weeks. This is very simple. There's not a lot of rocket science involved in this, all right? If you want to be considered among the best teams in the NFL, if you want to be considered among the elite of the NFL, which I know you, Jaguar fans, do, and I know the team does as well, you got to win home games, and you got to stop people. And right now, the Jaguars aren't doing either one of those. When you don't win at home, and you're not stopping anybody, i.e. Jake Browning or Joe Flacco, that's a problem. And look, if winning the AFC South is good enough for you, and getting into the playoffs is good enough for you, that's fine. Because to me, that's where the Jaguars are headed. But if you want more, right, if you want more than just a division title, if you want to make some true noise in the NFL postseason, well, then that's got to start on Sunday. You got to win this game at home, and you got to be able to stop people. And you're going to get a great challenge with Lamar Jackson coming in here on Sunday night. This needs to be the get-right game for Jacksonville. This needs to be the show-me-something game for Jacksonville. Because if they lose this game, I still think they'll probably get in. They'll be backpedaling getting in, and I'm not sure how long they're going to last in the NFL playoffs. Well, that'll just about do it. What's been a very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. In for Blue tonight on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We got a lot of people to thank. Again, Josh Pate of the Late Kick Pod and Late Kick Live, talking college football. Thank you to Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated. Matt is one of my favorite guys to talk Jaguars with. Really enjoy his honesty, and he gave it to you straight earlier today, and we appreciate his candor. So Matt Verderam of SI, and back in hour number one, my guy Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's with us every week here on Hacker After Dark, and we certainly appreciate Cecil taking time out for us this evening. We will be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and we will talk to you tomorrow night on a Thursday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Even more Jaguars. Listen to the Tommy Mac Podcast with Tom McManus and Campo and Joe with Dave Campo and Joe C. Find these original podcasts at 1010XL.com or on Twitter at 1010XL.
Did you know the new 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid has an onboard system that charges the battery so you never have to plug it in? When you think Honda, you think quality, value, safety. Now think hybrid. Visit your local Honda dealer and experience the car of tomorrow.